Hi, I'm Jake Turner, a peak performance coach and entrepreneur in the Nashville, Tennessee area. I went from having degrees in biology and nursing, getting my doctorate in nurse anesthesia, to becoming professionally trained as a core energy coach through IPEC. Like many of you, I spent years searching for something deeper, more purposeful, and I genuinely believe that God has put me here to help people, and coaching has become a new favorite way of doing that. Now, I offer personalized one-on-one coaching for individuals and do high-impact group coaching for businesses. My ultimate goal through this podcast is to provide practical wisdom, meaningful insights, and proven strategies that will meaningfully improve your life and performance. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. Today's guest is a creative force, part artist, part inventor, and all heart. He helped launch Iowa's first techno band, wrote a Billboard song that placed top 10% in a writing contest, ran for state representative, and served as a worship director. He also broke ground in the world of electronic instruments, building custom gear, restoring vintage keyboards, and creating effects that even big-name musicians rely on. His company, LumiFX,
Yes.
first of its kind. But more than anything, he's someone who walked up to me at church yesterday because he felt something.
Yeah.
And now here we are. Welcome to the show, Alan Coppock. I said that right?
Good job. Perfect.
You walked up to me at church and said, I had a vibe. What made you stop and say, we need to talk?
I just happened to sit right across from you, and sometimes I don't believe that things are an accident. And you just had this aura about you. And my main gift is encouragement. And I saw just such a professionalism and a confidence in you. And I wonder, I just started to think to myself, I wonder if this guy knows how valuable he is.
Interesting. Like, what do you mean by valuable? I'm just curious.
Well, not a lot. I think sometimes we as people don't understand how important we are to others, and just the effect that we have on other people's lives. Mm-hmm. And like one of my main giftings is encouragement, like I said. And I thought, I wonder if this guy just needs a little encouragement. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but let's just check it out, I am a believer in, let's just go down that road just to see, it would be horrible if I didn't say anything. So, and there we are.
Yeah.
And you turned out to be this awesome, cool dude.
Well, I mean, it's interesting that's your impression, especially since we first met,
Uh-huh.
And it makes me think of the saying, your energy introduces yourself before you do. And I feel like that's a perfect example of that.
Wow.
Because I know that morning when I was in church, I have a routine in the morning. I worked out. I prime myself in an emotional state through a meditation exercise I do. I just remember feeling like just extremely good being there. I actually had, who was supposed to be here at the podcast today, they had to cancel because they were sick. And I'm like, where am I going to get another guest, And then like, boom, you just walked right up to me and solved my problem for me. So,
see, that's great. I said that goes right hand in hand with what I believe. And so many moments are serendipitous. So many moments are meant to be. God is the God of fate, and that's He's the God of love, but He's also the God of fate. And I think sometimes we kind of gloss over that part. So I'm a strong believer in fate.
Yeah, amen. Something I've learned recently too is I'm big into goal setting, especially as being a coach. I coach people one-on-one, and then also businesses as well.
Sweet.
And a lot of people have goals for the future and believe I'm going to create this, when in reality what works better is to be able to attract those things. So putting yourself in that prime emotional state, aligning yourself with those things, and the energy allows those things to come to you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. It creates the space for things like that to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned fate. What does fate mean to you?
Fate means events, and I'll put it in generic terms, but fate means events that are pre-designed and orchestrated by a force or God.
What if you didn't put in a generic term? Like, what would be like a specific term? Like, what does it mean to you, like, personally?
Things will come the way they're supposed to be.
Okay.
As long as you engage in that energy, in that belief. I think if you were to not care and just kind of go through life on the conveyor belt waiting to die, I really don't think that some of those fate opportunities will really come to you. But I think when you're dialed in, I think you are going to be experiencing the best fate, the best outcome that you could ever experience.
I totally agree with that. And you seem like you have good energy.
Thank you.
That's one of the main reasons I was like, just met this guy, but like he should come on the podcast. Even though this is the first episode of the podcast, which is great, and I appreciate you being here. There's some bugs to work out and stuff like that, and we'll keep improving. Sure. Do you have a certain process that you do in order to have good energy? Is it just like a mindset you have? Like how do you go about that? Or I'm just kind of curious if you have any insight in that for other people, because a lot of people don't have a lot of great energy, or they know what they're supposed to do. Like, I want to work out today, but they just don't have the energy for it. Mm-hmm. What would you say to them?
Okay, yeah, that's almost like a two-stage question. I would say I learned something very early on by watching an MTV video.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
Okay. What was the video?
There was a guy named Will Powers.
Okay.
It was his pen name.
Wow. How ironically motivating.
Right. And I'm sure that was his pen name, of course.
Yeah.
But he would
It's a good name.
create this music, and I saw this video on MTV that totally changed my life. And here I was, this teenager in a lost, dysfunctional home, getting some great advice from an MTV video, which is crazy. But the title of the song is "Make It Happen."
Okay.
And he's a psychologist, and he goes through all these things, and he lists off the reasons to positively think about something, and you can create your own future. And as a little teenager, I was just amazed at what he was saying. It's like, you mean if I just hope and work towards something, it'll happen? Dad and Mom never taught me this. What does this mean? And I don't know, I just developed this positive, outgoing attitude in my developmental years. And people have always said that about me. And you'll have my down moments and all that,
Sure.
just like everyone. But
everyone does.
right. But I try to keep that going, just because I know that it helps me and it helps others. And maybe that's my advice that I would share with others who are having trouble being motivated. If you show up as your best self, not only are you helping yourself, but you're helping all the ones you love as well.
Yeah. And I think it's a good key point is if you can make something about other people, it'll motivate you more, because oftentimes we will treat others better than we will our own selves, our own body. Oh, you should eat healthy. Oh, you should get some rest. Comes to me, I won't eat so great. I'll stay up late. You know what I mean?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think if you can live your life in a way that is for other people, it's really rewarding. And then there's no limit to what you can get done or accomplish. It gives you that clarity and that purpose. Once I gain some clarity, I gain 100% clarity on my purpose as becoming a coach, and knowing that this is the way God wants me to help people. And I believe there's multiple ways. Yeah. It changes everything.
Absolutely.
I don't want to watch TV. I don't want to waste any of my time. I track my time down to the minute every day, which does mean if I'm spending time with you, I highly value you as a person and your time. And it's just a game changer. And it's hard in between when you don't have that, because you kind of drift around. What am I doing here? What's the point of working? It just makes your day-to-day a lot heavier.
Oh, yeah, especially when you realize that time is precious. And, as you get older, you start to realize it's like, wait a minute, I'm in my 50s now. So what does that mean? I got to make sure that I make good use of my time. When you're younger, you could you could have the luxury of just kind of resting on your laurels and not thinking about things. But and hopefully, I think there are some people that are old souls that are even young people are starting to realize that, how do I make the most out of my day? how can I make the biggest impact? And am I going to be doing that, watching Netflix for binging and doing that for 2 hours a day? Probably not.
Yeah. I think it depends on what you want, and like no judgment. If you want to watch TV, I think it's good to relax.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and if you're really driven, like I am, I know other people, top performers, it's a skill you need to learn. You know, you have to be able to shut down and relax. Life is not just work. Yes. You know, and like a lot of, businessmen, it's just like serious business.
Right.
I'm a businessman.
Give yourself a heart attack before the age of 40.
Yeah, exactly. It's all I do is business, and they don't know how to have fun. You know, and it's like that's the most important thing I think is to have fun. Like I like to study comedy and like actually write my own jokes every day, and like I find that just makes me in like a better mood throughout the rest of the day, because you look for funny moments, you know,
absolutely.
or like even trying to be funny, you know, like even comedians, like they're trying to be funny. They're taking swings. They have misses. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
But when they hit the ball, they hit home runs a lot of times, you know, which is cool. Like I highly respect that art. Now, you'd mentioned before to me that that you weren't like everyone else. Now, did you always know you weren't like everyone else?
No, I had to have somebody tell me that. It was my first love, actually. She said, Alan, you're just not like everybody else.
Okay.
You know, there's something different about you. There's something special about you. And I'm like, wow, thank you. I never knew that. Nobody ever told me that. Well,
and what did she mean by that? Or what meaning did you give to that?
I don't know. Probably something where along the lines of I had a special purpose.
Okay.
You know, and I think there are a lot of us who feel that way, and I'm glad there are, because the more of us that figure out what our purpose is and we start doing those things, I think life becomes better for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to pretext like part of like a conversation we had yesterday talking about the podcast. And I get this when I talk to people, once they find out I'm a coach, I'm not going to coach you automatically. Like, it's who I am as a person.
Sure.
But when I coach people one-on-one, it's private, confidential, and I'm not going to just purposely coach you while we're talking about this stuff. Does that make sense? 'Cause some people kind of have that back in mind. Oh, is he trying to, talk to me about this? Like, no. And I would say that or ask for permission or certain things if I want to like explore that and stuff. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And by the way, you can if you want to, because one of my life verses is Proverbs 9:9, and it says, instruct a wise man and he will be wiser still.
Oh, I love that.
And so that's my life verse, actually.
Okay.
It's a strange life verse to have, but to me that shields me from any self-absorption, just too much self-confidence where I may not be seeing things from the outside looking in. And I think when others speak into your life that you trust, it's such a welcoming thing, because it's like, oh, thank you, because I might not have realized that,
Yeah, it's good having that third party kind of to see. And there's so much wisdom in Proverbs, like it's one thing I read the whole Bible. That was like one of my goals. But after reading it, then I cherry pick like a lot of other Christians. Let me go back and read my favorite parts.
Yeah.
But I feel like Proverbs, though, you can pick up a little bit of something no matter what as you read it, and you just gain that wisdom really quickly. And I think it's smart, because if like King Solomon, it's like if you have wisdom, you can have access to everything else. Riches, great relationships, great health, all those things, because it comes from a point of wisdom.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. In fact, like even for new Christians, they tell us to don't start in Genesis, you're going to get bored real quick, or even though it's a great story, but like, go to the Gospels first. And then I would say, go to Proverbs, and then just because I think you start to understand the wisdom of God and just how you can let that sink into your mind, and it changes your perspective.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I think something that kind of amazed me when I was reading the Bible cover to cover is like, it took forever for Jesus to show up.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like 75% of the way through the book, and then he was there for like, seemed like, a chapter.
Yeah.
And he dies. And it's like, can you bring back Jesus for a little bit? It's like, it's the most, like, it's the protagonist, like if it was a movie, you know what I mean? But
right. Yeah.
When people ask, what do you do? How do you even begin to answer that?
I'm still trying to figure out how to package it into a precise amount of verbiage. But I would say I restore musical electronics for all kinds of musicians everywhere. And my focus is on keyboards, but I can do anything that I have the schematics for. But, it's true that every person usually changes their careers at least 3 times in their life. And I'm in a point where I'm slightly modifying my career. I love doing that, but what I'm going to be doing is, instead of repairing things that people own, I'm going to make things that people buy. Okay. And there's an incredibly different stress level there involved. And so that's why I'm creating the company LumiFX, just because that's the next stage that I feel that I should be heading. There are some other guys. There's lots of great repair techs out there. I'll try to always be one. I'll work for my legacy customers, but heading into making things that people buy is somewhere that I want to be. I just want to inspire people in the musical process. I want them to be able to create with something that inspires them, something that's beautiful, something that's never been done before, something that can maybe give them a leg up to boost their creativity.
No, I think that's awesome. Do you play instruments?
Yes.
Okay, what instruments do you play?
Play keyboard. I led that with music directing or worship directing. Sax, I sing. I play guitar, clarinet, flute, all the woodwinds. But main instruments, I would say, would be my voice and my sax, and then keys. I play on 2nd Avenue, downtown Nashville, all the time.
Oh, what?
I should have said
that.
Why
did you say that? Well, even earlier, it's like you were sending me some, like... And we'll show these on the screen, like these really cool synthesizers, like the different colors. But man, if you had your keyboard set up and playing, I used to play some keyboard and take piano lessons in college way back in the day. But that would be so cool. We could do that too. When you're talking about you're switching roles and creating new products, why is creating new products more stressful for you?
Oh, it's actually less stressful. I might not have flipped that the right way.
Oh, okay.
No, it's actually repairing things that people own is a lot more stressful than making things that people buy.
Okay.
Because it's somebody's baby, and a lot of these instruments are very, 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 very old. And so a lot of times the parts don't exist. Sometimes you can't figure out why something isn't working. And it's got to be done by next Friday.
That's fair. I mean, I guess like you call it a baby if you were either repairing an infant or creating a new one. I don't know. Those both sound super stressful to me. I mean, just kids in general. It's just stressful. Yeah,
right.
Pressure.
Right. Well, one of the reasons why creating something new is a lot easier is because it's brand new parts. You know how it works. You're the creator. You're the designer. You know how it's supposed to function. And if something happens and they're out there and they receive your product and they don't like it, you can say, "Well, I'm so sorry. Please return it for a full refund." And then it's the end of the story.
Yeah, true.
But we're not thinking that that's going to happen. Most of the people are going to love what we do.
Yeah, there's a recent quote that I like, and I think. It applies to so many areas in life, but especially like a new business. And so the quote is, the part of the plan needs to include that things are not going to go according to the plan.
Yes.
This, something's going to go wrong. Bumps are going to happen, and you just, that stress is going to come, but then just be able to work through that and have a backup plan. Okay. Flights canceled. What now? What's the next flight we can get on? Stay calm. Do we need to stay an extra night in the hotel? Like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? And I think it's important, especially in those circumstances, to be someone who's like, oh, I can come to them. They're calm, grounded. They'll figure it out.
And I think acceptance is a big part of the planning and exploration process. I did something really bad where I was so set on a certain date that these pedals were going to be done, these effects pedals were going to be done. And, I had the accident where it came up and hit my eye, and I got all depressed because it wasn't ready when I really wanted it to be ready. But then I thought, wait a minute, Al, it's like there's all kinds of people who have gone through interruptions, delays, and the minute I started to accept that is just par for the course, it helped me recalibrate. There's that word.
Yeah.
And I thought, no, this is okay. I'm all right. You know,
Yeah.
we're gonna. And I think that's important to know if anybody's setting a goal, that you have to factor in the fact that sometimes things don't always go to plan.
Good and bad. Typically, the bad part we think about, right, is in life where we have an expectation for something.
Yes.
And then reality happens one place or the other. You know, usually I feel like it's lower that we think about, like, oh, I thought this was going to be this in time. And then this happens in reality. And so that stress difference is what creates that uncomfortable difference for us. You know, so that's why I think it's sometimes too, going into things, it's not good to have a super high expectation because you're always going to be let down. You know, like even for our podcast conversation, just go into it. You know, I'm not thinking like, oh, it's going to be the best conversation. You know, even though I'm enjoying a conversation, it puts too much pressure, and then it could set me up to just be let down automatically. Does it make sense? You know,
exactly. You have to manage expectations for yourself.
Yeah, and tell me about too briefly, like what it was like to have trouble with your eye, because you know, I think one thing we all take for granted. I know I did. Like, well, I don't now, but like growing up, I was sick a lot. I want to hear your story first before I talk about that. We don't realize how much we appreciate our health till it starts to deteriorate some.
Yeah.
So do you mind talking about that?
No, definitely. I'll just warn everybody, make sure you wear protective gear. You know, protect yourself. Yeah. I was working on a buffer wheel, and a lot of these parts are polished aluminum. And it was this part right here on the outer edge, that decided to fly back in my face. And it doesn't normally happen, but the part is shaped in such a way where the buffer wheel was able to grab it on both sides. And so it flew it back in my face at 60 miles an hour.
Oh my God.
And the minute it happened, I knew I was in trouble. I saw stars that I'd never seen before. And I thought, oh gosh, this is horrible. I know I'm going to have to go to the emergency room. I can't just wait this one out.
Yeah.
So and it was right around the time that I had to feed my dog some dinner and supper. And
of course.
Yes, exactly. Called a good friend of mine and said, Paul, I said, I'm sorry, I'm going to need you to take me to the emergency room. I've got to take care of Branson real quick. That's my dog.
Okay.
And he says, oh man, okay, buddy, I'll be there. And just, come out whenever you're ready. So I, my eye is bleeding and I can't see, and feeding my dog, his dinner, and I go out to walk him real quick. I'm like, okay, Branson, we got to go walk, and
is he like, are you okay?
Dad, is there something you're not telling me?
Yeah. You're crying blood.
Right.
Is that normal?
Right. And so I, got him all set up, got him back in the house, and then Paul and I went to emergency room 1, which sounds like our friend that we were talking about before. He went to 2 emergency rooms.
Yeah.
I had to go to the first emergency room, and then they wanted me to go to another just in case I needed some instant eye surgery. Turned out that I didn't, but that was pretty crazy. And a month later, I had to get back on that very same piece of equipment doing exactly the same thing. It's kind of like the first time you get on a motorcycle after an accident, and you're like, your hands are shaking a little bit.
When I was 19, I broke both my arms at the same time.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Holy.
I was, and the thing about it too was I was in the best shape of my life at the time. And I'm in great shape now. I think it's kind of arguable because I feel the best that I ever have. But at the time if anyone's in motocross, like I was riding 2 45-minute motos Monday through Thursday, and that's a lot. And I'd take 2 days off, so I'd prep. It'd be okay. So Sunday's my race day, so I'm completely, totally recovered, ready to go. And so I rode a 125 two-stroke at the time, a little bit smaller bike compared to I got on my dad's 450 four-stroke, which is a lot faster. And I was actually just riding up towards the track. I was blessed enough to I grew up pretty poor, but we had some land, which is I'm always so grateful for, where I could go ride in the back of our property. And I was going up the hill, and the front end kind of just like jerked, and it kind of went left, and then when it jerked right, my face went first down, like in the ground, just shattered my visor.
Oh my!
And I rolled, and I had blood all over my face. I don't know from what, because I had the helmet with like a big, like sticks out in the front, And at the time, I broke, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but like I broke my finger here, and I broke my wrist right here, and thank God my dad was there at the time. And, cause I didn't know if I was going up or down the hill, you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to do a wheelie or anything, and then, I kind of like, when I get in a bad accident, I'm just like, oh, I just need like a chair or like, I just need to lay down for a second. So I remember like laying down in like my full like dirt bike gear, and I looked at my finger and I'm like, oh, that's probably broken. And like look at my wrist, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's probably broken too. I'm like, all right, we called my mom, like, we got to go to the emergency room. And I walked in there in like my full motocross gear, and yeah, that was rough. A cool, you want to hear a cool story that came from that though?
Yeah.
Is so, that was the only time where I guess that allowed me to use the ladies part of the gym. So at the time, I love to work out, and I had a trainer at the time who was helping me with like motocross training. Her husband trained in motocross, and so she had me this great routine, yoga, and all these different things. And so I came to her, I'm like, look, and I'm like, I still need to work out. She's like, okay, so I came with like a plan, like what things can we do? Like probably shouldn't have done, but like tricep pull downs, but with like open hand, because I couldn't grip anything. Mm-hmm. And then I could do like pec press. I was in the gym with 2 broken arms, like doing pec press. I loved it. And I got access to the ladies part of the gym because I couldn't pick up weights. And so, but I could use the little pin and like do that. And so I'd walk into the ladies part of the gym with like 2 broken arms, like, don't mind me, just can't skip leg day. So doing leg press and just what I could. But
oh my gosh,
it was crazy. Yeah, trying to wash yourself with like 2 like garbage bags, that was awful. You just never feel like you're clean.
There are those pictures of a mountain scenery, and it says things like dedication and all that.
Yeah,
that should be you doing this, and the subtitle is dedication. Because I bet people were watching you and they're like, oh my gosh, that guy puts me to shame. Look at that dedication. I
don't know if dedication, just a little bit being dumb, I mean, sometimes it's good to take a break and heal, but yeah, I always like to think of like do what you can, and I think of moments like that when it's like, people are so quick to make excuses when it's like, oh, I'd work out every day, but XYZ, and I like anymore, I have a hard time tolerating that for people.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I just accept their answer, I could never do that. You're right.
Yeah.
If you tell yourself you can't do something, you can't do something.
Right. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, but you tell yourself I can, maybe you can't do it, but it's going to get you a lot closer than if you're sitting there telling yourself I can't do this.
Yeah, I think there's almost kind of a continuum where people are at. Where are you on the passion continuum?
Just explain to me what you mean by that. Because if I had to guess, just go ahead. What do you mean by that?
What I mean is, like, it seems like you and I are a couple of guys that are very in tune with our passion, and that we really want to see things happen, and it's about the love of whatever it is. Some of us are kind of asleep, and we're kind of just hanging out. And just like you said before, no judgment. If that's how you want to live life, that's totally cool. More power to you. You have freedom to do that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes passion can be awakened in people when they find or when they discover something that they want to be passionate about. And I think it's when you discover that passion, then it's like, then you just start to adopt the characteristics that you and I are talking about. Like, oh, let's not waste any time. Let's get this done. Let's get this done. Because when you want to see what you create come to life, and that's your love.
Mm-hmm. So, I totally agree. Yeah. And like my new mantra is built through discipline, fueled by love, guided by God.
Ooh, I like that.
And every decision I make either builds or breaks the vision. Wow. And so I use that to guide everything I do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, if you ever want to learn, I could teach you how to do it. So
sign me up.
Yeah, if you think that would be valuable. So besides being a coach myself, so I have a business coach as well. So I think it's important to know in every important aspect of my life, I hire a coach because they're important goals for me. And you don't need a coach, but you can gain a lot of traction fast through strategy by hiring one.
Proverbs 9:9.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. And so one thing that I learned is a framework, how to do that. And people are listening. If you go to my Instagram and follow me and DM the word framework, I will send you basically it's the blueprint of how I create my goals, how I create my standards, and will gain you that 100% clarity on your purpose.
Awesome. That's cool.
Would you consider yourself a creative person?
Yes, definitely.
Now, I feel like creative people too often comes from a place of pain or from something deeper.
Wow, that is wild. Is it part of your nature, and is it also part of pain? I think it's probably both. My grandmother was a jazz pianist in the 1940s. She had her own piano show in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and people loved her.
Yeah.
She's a great musician. So a lot of it's inherited, and just kind of who I am as a person, right-brained. But I think you're definitely right. I think a lot of creativity can come from pain and from life experiences and lessons learned, things like that.
I totally agree. Real quick, too, I'm curious, you said you played down on...
Second Avenue.
Second Avenue? Yeah. How can people come and see you?
So this is crazy. So you know where the bomb went off Christmas Eve?
Is that the AT&T building?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I play every Christmas Eve, Christmas songs at that spot.
Oh, is that a good idea?
No.
Did you pick that specifically?
No, it was before that happened.
Okay.
And of course, naturally, I would have left. Obviously, sure. If this thing is saying, I'm going to blow up in a few minutes.
Yeah.
I would have
hope so.
I would have left. No, I have to finish this song first. So it was Second Avenue. So I changed locations after that, obviously, because the buildings are all dilapidated and they haven't rebuilt yet.
Yeah.
But so now I'm on Third Avenue, close to the Batman building, and so I just like to play for people as they're coming by because Nashville is not just the country music city, but it's the music city.
Yeah.
And so I really like people that come into town to experience all kinds of music, jazz, rock, whatever it might be. I wanted to be that jazz sax player on the corner playing songs for people, especially during Christmas.
Yeah.
So you'll see me on Third Avenue every weekend before Christmas. The 5 weekends before Christmas, I'll be there.
Okay. It's almost like it sounds like a Christmas song. So you just play on the street, basically?
Play on the street, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just busk. It's called busking.
Busking?
Yep. Thank God there's no rules against it yet.
What's busking?
Busking is when you're an artist and you just feel like setting out your guitar case and you play music and people throw money into your guitar case because they like what you're doing. Oh. But in my case, it's my saxophone case.
That's cool. Do you know where that term came from?
Boy, busking has been around for quite a while. I don't know where it came from.
I'm just
but
curious.
It's probably a Nashville thing, maybe.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay. Very cool. I want to ask you about, you built the first voice chip of its kind in America. Why were you the one to do that?
So at the time, and I'll set it up just like this for a quick moment. Mm-hmm. I used to be a home remodeler. And in 2008, the housing market crashed.
Okay.
There wasn't really a lot of work for a lot of people like me. So I had to think fast on my feet. There was a keyboard called a Juno 106 that I absolutely loved, but the voice chips were dying and nobody knew how to fix them. And we were trying to figure out how to recreate them. And there was another process that you could do to restore them that I discovered offhand just from some very obscure corner of the internet. It's where you desolder the voice chips, take them out, soak them in acetone, and then you can remove the coating and then see what is not making a connection, put them back in the keyboard, and they work. And the crazy thing is that there are about 5 different synthesizers that use this particular voice chip.
Okay.
And I thought, I could make a business out of this. And so I stopped trying to keep my home remodeling business afloat and went into electronics.
Okay.
And I had done electronics ever since I was a little kid, but I really dove into it at that point because it's that love, for the instrument and things.
Yeah.
And so, but before, kind of in tandem, while that was going on, people were figuring out how to restore the chips. People were also figuring out how to make a brand new chip. And there was a guy that actually made them over in Europe. And I thought, I want to make my own style, my own kind. So I got together with an electronic developer, and we actually made the first voice chip in the United States.
Wow.
And so I started selling those along with refurbishing the old chips. And so I let people choose, do you want the brand new chips or do you want the old chips restored? And so they were able to make a choice. And I started that first repair business on eBay, and just thinking fast on my feet. It's like, how am I going to get people to see what I do? Boy, that was perfect, because everybody who's looking to buy one sees the service on eBay, and they're like, well, I'll just send my 106 to this guy. And my business was born in 2009. So.
Wow. How cool is that?
It was awesome.
What's something people get totally wrong about electronic music?
Ooh, that is a good question. That it's easy. I think there's a lot of people think, oh, you just turn on the computer and there you go.
Can I just make a song with like GarageBand?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I tell you what, some of the new AI stuff, have you messed with any of that stuff online with, I can't want to use the other day. It's like Suno. It's pretty miraculous if you haven't seen it.
It's pretty amazing.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I think like musicians too, or like songwriters, I have some friends who are songwriters, are scared of it. But I think that if they use that tool, it can make them even more creative. You can create quicker, enhance your music. It's still your ideas. Just like, it's like the instrument. You're controlling the instrument.
Yes.
Use the instrument, make it express yourself even more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Connect people even more through emotion.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a balance sooner or later with song creation, music creation, AI, and the instrumentalist, the musician, the songwriter. I think I'm seeing it happen right now in real time, where if somebody does a song that's totally AI and too much, leaning too much into AI for creation, a lot of the artists can spot it, and they can say, hey, let's not do so much AI on this page, like on Facebook and in some of the groups. And then some of us are too scared of it, and we don't even want to touch it, and we don't realize that it could really, really help in some situations. So I think the key is striking a balance, and I think as the music industry moves forward, as that art form moves forward, I think we'll figure out where that sweet spot is. It's one thing that's going to have to be developed over time, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. And we briefly talked about AI, and one thing I want to mention, one of the coolest things that I've used AI for is, if you're an entrepreneur, anyone can use it basically, but just leave it like a 10-minute voice note, or just rant at it for a long time, whatever AI you like to use, ChatGPT or Gemini, Grok, whatever, and then say, this is what I'm trying to do. You say, I'm starting a business, and these are my problems, and this is what else is going on in my life, and whatever. And say, look for the gaps in what I'm doing. See things I'm not, because it's like a third party. It doesn't have any feelings. It doesn't know you. You can even tell it to be brutally honest. And some of the stuff it will come up with is like I know for me, I'm like, ooh, like for me, I want to do everything. I want to play guitar, dirt bike ride, study Italian, start a podcast, all these things. And the first top thing it said for me is, too many priorities, not enough prioritization.
I like it.
And then I found a way to fix that through a business coach. And now my life flows so much better. You can do all those things, but you got to find a way to stack them. And once you can do all those things, but you need a rhythm to it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. And it's cool that you were self-aware enough to know that you needed a coach to be able to help you through. I think that's so important.
Yeah. Well, you don't need a coach, but it really helps.
It really helps.
It helps a lot. Especially if someone has it figured out.
Yeah.
And they have good energy. You vibe with them. Because not every coach you're going to have that you're going to vibe with. Just like I don't vibe with every person. So I don't necessarily want to coach everyone, especially some people, they're not ready for help. I say, well, I can't help you if you're not even ready to be helped.
Exactly.
Just like unfortunately, if people don't pay you, they're not going to pay attention.
Oh, yeah, that's a big part of it.
So, I mean, people could listen to this podcast. I can give all the top advice. This is what I eat. This is what I do to exercise. This is what I do to sleep. But because someone's not paying for it, unfortunately, they're not invested in it. They typically won't listen to what you're going to say. Mm-hmm. And that's with anything. And that just is just totally understandable.
Mm-hmm.
It's
human nature.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's, if someone's like, I'll give you all life secrets for $1, you're like, really?
But $1,000.
Right. They're like, okay, well, maybe there'd be a couple good secrets in there.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So was there a moment you realized, damn, a famous artist just used something I made?
Yes. Kanye West.
Really?
Yes. I built a...
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
And not just Kanye.
We can get Kanye to watch this.
Yeah, right. Hey, Kanye.
What'd you make for Kanye?
One of his producers, his keyboard player, and Kanye, they wanted this specific blinged out version of a Juno 106, which is what I do, a custom modification.
That's a keyboard, right?
Yep, that's a keyboard, yeah. And he wanted it all black, and then the keys black, but flat black on the white keys and gloss black on the normal traditional black keys.
Wow.
And I spruced it up for him, and it was the first one of its kind, and I thought, oh, this is really, really, really cool. And there are a lot of people who liked it, so they said, well, yeah, I want Kanye's version.
That's awesome. So how do you do that? You coat them, or like what's some of the process of that?
So it's an industrial label that looks like paint.
Okay.
And I'll give the body a body color so that it covers all the places that the label doesn't, and then put that professional label over the top. It's kind of like a giant sticker.
Oh, okay.
But the great thing about it is that the graphics are all underneath a polycarbonate film, and they can't scratch off, they can't rub off, so it's pretty permanent.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep. And I used my woodworking skills from my old life, brought it into this life where I did wood sides for it. And I learned a few electronic tricks about lighting certain parts of the keyboard to make it bling out and look cool, like a lighted bender. But yeah, I did that for the longest time. I think that was, and I still do, and we'll always do that. That was in 2015 that I did that for Kanye. So
what woodworking did you used to do?
So the woodworking came when I was in home remodeling.
Oh,
so,
okay,
yeah,
gotcha. Yeah,
previous life.
That's cool.
Yep. And then I was able to do something for Dr. Luke. He wanted a Juno 106 in the shape of a Prophet 5. And so we flashed that on the screen too.
Oh, sure.
But
I need some help with that, but I'm sure if you could label some of them or something.
Sure. And that's in his studio. He of course is Britney Spears' producer. He produced Pink as well, I think.
Oh, wow.
But he's got one of my pieces of gear in his studio in LA.
Wow.
Let's see who else. I don't have the example for the producer for Earth, Wind, and Fire, but that was cool. I got him some stuff. Oh, Michael W. Smith, I've worked on his stuff. For King and Country, I built them a red junior, and there's another picture of a purple junior that I gave you, and we can flash that up too. But that's where I take an HS60, which is the home version of a Juno 106. I cut it off where the speakers are, and I condense it down to 3 octaves. And there's a lot of people who like that for a space saver. They want something that's really small and portable. And it's just cool to see a 3-octave Juno 106.
Yeah, what are those? Because I don't know what that is.
Sure.
I know what a guitar is. I know what a keyboard is. I don't really understand synthesizers, because that's what you're talking about, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Could you explain it to people? Because I don't know if people are thinking the same thing. I have no idea
what he's talking about.
Yeah.
What's this talking?
What are you actually talking about?
So these were analog keyboards that were created in the middle 1980s.
Okay.
And they just sound amazing. People love them, and they're sought after. But a lot of them are in disrepair by now and need a lot of help. So I'll do the insides, the electronic restoration, along with a cosmetic modification.
It's like they need repair, like a long-term relationship.
Yes.
You married the homecoming queen.
Yes.
And lost her 5 years later.
Oh, yes. Ouch.
What did grief teach you about love?
Oh, my gosh. The pain. You are not invincible, and you have to be careful about how you handle people. I think that's, if she were being honest, I'm sure she would say the same thing about me, too. And I think when you're young, when you idolize love and you expect that other person to embody everything that you've ever thought love should be, there's all of this expectation on that person just just to provide it all for you and be perfect and never have any issues and all that. And of course, I knew that part of it. I knew we love each other through the issues and things like that. But I think realizing that you have to care for the other person in the way that you show up. You can't just, well, let's just say, for example, you can't just vomit emotionally whatever you're feeling and expect that person not to be affected by it.
Sure.
Things like that.
Yeah. Can you give me an example of that?
Oh boy, this is hard.
Sure. I mean, whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about it, we don't have to talk about
it. There were some mistakes she made with me as well, but I thought, I think one of the things that I did is I thought that she was supposed to catch every emotion that I had without being scared of like me getting angry or things like that, and it's an incredibly hard lesson to learn, and I'm glad I learned it. I'm different now than I ever was, and I think a lot of us are. But growing up in a home where you're not taught that, and actually you're modeled by a father who could just express it however he wanted to, you kind of think, oh, well, I can do that too. That's how you're supposed to do it. Well, no, not at all.
Gotcha. And you don't have to talk about, if you don't want to talk about this, we don't have to, but I guess are you saying that how your father expressed certain things, that's how you were expressing things too?
Absolutely. Yeah. I learned the wrong way.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And now I'm not anything like that. And the funny thing is that people don't expect that from me at all, because I come off like this sweet, caring guy. And I really am. That's really who I am, honestly. Some psychologists say that anger and rage is stored sadness. And I had some of that growing up just because of the way that I was treated and the way that I grew up. A lot of stored sadness. And so if you ever do see somebody with rage or something like that, you can pretty much peg that they've had some stored up sadness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still have stored up sadness?
I don't think so. I think there are some core issues I'm still working on.
Sure.
And I always say to everybody, the key to relational success is knowing what your core issues are and your attachment style.
Okay.
And that's, if I were ever to counsel anybody and two couples, I would say, okay, first let's look at your core issues, and then let's look at your attachment style and how is that affecting the other person. And let's just start there, because I don't think sometimes we understand how we're really showing up for somebody, because we're influenced by those things. And some people can have a huge eureka moment where like, oh, well, that's why I do that, or that's why that's been creeping up, and you're just, it's like light switches that turn on. And there's so many relationships that can be saved if you know those few things.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about that, having the awareness to know, what did I experience earlier on in my life or any point in my life, and how is it affecting my relationships now? You called divorce your most profound lesson. What did it reveal about you?
People need to be handled with care. You don't always see everything from the inside looking out. Sometimes you need people from the outside looking in. Yeah, I mean, I think those are the two biggest things, really. I think when you're young, I think life is a good teacher, and pain sometimes is a really good teacher, where you figure things out pretty quick.
Sure.
Ooh, that hurts. I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And I'm so happy that there are people who have wanted to speak into my life and save me from pain, which is nice. I mean, that's one of the reasons, and I think that's one of the reasons why I really latched onto that verse, because there are some things I didn't know at that point, and it's Proverbs 9:9 says, "Instruct a wise man, and he will be wiser still." And I thought, well, wait a minute. So if I get instructed, I probably won't make a lot of these huge mistakes anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm going to stay open.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I'm going to stay open from now on.
Yeah.
And I was just lucky enough to have, blessed, if you put it that way.
Yeah.
To have the right people speak into my life at the right time.
Yeah. Who is someone that stood out to you that really spoke wisdom into your life?
there's so many people, but I would say my goddad, Dave Downey, he's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, he just has this perfect way of saying things. It's funny. I was an Iowa boy, but he's a Southern boy, and so I learned Southern speak even before I moved down to Nashville.
Southern speak? Like, what do you mean by Southern speak?
Oh, just kind of his accents. And
okay.
He had some great sayings, like let's see if I can do it. He said,
"What are some of the great Southern sayings you learned from your friend?" That's what I want to know.
Dave would say, and he was drunker than a peach orchard boar.
A peach orchard boar.
Yeah. So what happens is when they had the hogs roam a peach orchard, they would eat the fermented fruit that had dropped and had rotted.
Okay.
On the ground.
Yeah.
But it was alcohol. And so the pigs would get drunk. And so there was a saying, drunker than a peach orchard boar.
Would that be like whiskey flavored bacon or something? Would that be like the end?
I'm sure it could be.
Peach flavored alcohol bacon?
That's a good name. Peach orchard boar,
Yeah. Wow. We could make that. I don't know if they smoke with peach wood. I bet they do.
Yeah.
I love smoking food. I love cooking and stuff. So I'm just curious about that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, he was great.
Yeah.
And it's ironic because he didn't have any kids of his own, I don't think. No, he did have one or two, but he wasn't very close to them. And I became close to them, so we're kind of each other's adopted family.
Yeah.
And he's just got so much wisdom, and he was just a great guy. He's still around.
Is
he's great.
You should have him listen to this because more oftentimes people don't know how grateful we are for them in their lives. And it's so good to tell him, because he'd probably hear that and it would really make his day. So I hope you make it a point to send him the podcast.
I will.
And to follow, subscribe.
Yes.
What does faith feel like in the creative process?
Ooh, faith feel like in the creative process. Well, faith would mean that you have a certain amount of confidence in the creative process. I guess because I've just been doing it so long, and there's a lot of writers who probably feel the same way I do, you just kind of know what you want to hear and what you want to see. And so you set yourself up to create a creation, if it's an art piece or a piece of music, and you rely on your experiences from before, and I was able to do that before. That sounded pretty good. So I've got faith that this will happen again. And I seem to be getting better and better at it. So God is always guiding me. So, I've been given talents for a reason. Yeah, I think this is going to turn out pretty well. That's kind of maybe the mindset that goes on when I'm maybe creating something and looking at it from the angle of faith, if you will.
Yeah. No, that's really cool.
Yeah.
You believe once saved, always saved.
Yeah.
How does that change the way you show up for people?
Oh my gosh. Wow. So this is a big one in Christian circles. If you do get into theology at all. In fact, gosh, I hope I can package this in a way that people can understand. So when I was a young Christian, I was so happy finding Christ because I needed a God that would save me from myself. And I finally found Christ. And I'm like, oh God, this is great. I'm saved. Things are good.
Amen.
I'm set, And, I didn't want to do all these bad things. I wanted to do better for me and others. So I wasn't really, trying to, get away with things or trying to use that as a license to sin, because Jesus will always forgive you. That's that kind of argument. Yeah. But I came across a saying once, or the idea that you could lose your salvation. I'm like, what? Does that mean I have to do things perfectly to stay saved? Like, I thought Jesus forgave me from that stuff in the first place. I don't get it.
Yeah.
And it really caused me to dive into Scripture on a deep level and figure it out for myself. Because I think that's what the Holy Spirit was guiding me to do. It's like, look into this so you need to be able to figure this out. Because it was really robbing me of my joy. I was really worried about doing things to to upset God, and maybe that time was the time that did it, and he was mad at me forever, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And so I stumbled across a few verses in Romans, my favorite book in the whole Bible, and it was the doctrine of predestination, which says, "For those God foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the likeness of Christ." So if God is standing back at the beginning of time and he's looking forward and he says, "I know that Alan's going to accept me and I know him," So therefore, according to the scripture, it says, "I am predestined to be conformed to the likeness of Christ." So if you're predestined to be conformed to the likeness of Christ, how could you ever lose your salvation?
Yeah.
Because
That's so cool.
Yeah, because the Bible also says, he is the author and the perfecter of our faith. So if he is, which he is, how could you ever lose it? Because if you could lose it, that means he's an imperfect perfecter, but not. He's the perfect perfecter of your faith.
Yeah.
So God is in control completely once you've crossed over from death to life. You can't go back. You're either his son, and you always are going to be and are, or not.
Yeah.
You can't go back and forth.
Yeah.
And so
You're your father or you're not.
right. And so that saved
It's
me.
like a paternity test.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean?
Good point.
It's like a religious paternity test. It's either he's your salvation or he's not.
Right. And this next verse gets a little deep, but that is there were people. Jesus was telling a parable of the people that will come to heaven, and they'll say, "Lord, Lord, didn't we do all these religious things? Why can't you let us into heaven?" And Jesus says, "Depart from me, for I never knew you." But listen carefully to the English. He didn't say, "Depart from me, for it's as if I never knew you." He said, "Depart from me, for I never knew you." So what that means is, I got to catch up with my logic.
Yeah.
That once you are his, and you are known by him, you are saved, because Jesus can't lie. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It makes total sense.
So there's some deep philosophical stuff there. There are other ways to prove it, but one of the reasons why I like being able to relax and knowing that I'm saved from myself is because now I have the confidence to be able to share that awesome love with others, and I don't have to worry about, but do I still have it? Am I going to be able to share this with people? Because, man, if they have to perform to be accepted by God,
right,
I'm not really conveying any message of hope. I'm just conveying a message of perfection and of performance. But if I feel comfortable and safe knowing that, no, I'm accepted, God is saving me from myself, I'm good, my sins are forgiven, and to all of those who are concerned, well, does that give us a license to do everything and anything?
Yeah.
It's like, no. The law of sowing and reaping is still in effect.
Yeah.
You will sow what you reap, so you have to be careful. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. I can't just go do whatever I want because, God will forgive me.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And the great thing about becoming his is God changes your want to. You no longer want to do all the things you used to do. And if you do, it's something that God is still working in you and through you, and like addictions, things like that.
Yeah.
But that's what's great about just becoming one of his, is that he literally changes your want to.
Yeah. I love that. Now, I've been doing some traveling recently, and what I found interesting is that some places in Europe, Christianity is kind of viewed a little bit differently from my perspective. It was kind of judgy, versus when I picture Christianity, I think of it as love and family and peace, especially when I think of Jesus. What would you say to, say, people in Europe who are thinking of Christianity as more of being judgy?
Yeah, or like a code that we have to live by.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah. What would you say to those people?
Yeah. So I think that is a common thing. I think that's happened even in America, where people aren't understanding the message of the gospel. And quite honestly, the enemy, of our souls and the enemy of Satan. Or I mean, the enemy of Jesus is Satan.
Mm-hmm.
He loves it that we get that all backwards.
Mm-hmm.
He wants us to think that it's about a religious code, because people get tired and weary trying to fulfill some kind of a religious code. And that's not what it's about anyway. It's about Christ's love and his desire to know us and be with us. It's not based on works. It's not based on things that, I'll finally accept you if you're this good a person,
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think when the message was lost of the love of Christ and how much he wants to know you and you know him, that's how that thing got propagated. And quite honestly, the enemy of our souls wants that to be propagated, because he doesn't want people to know that it's really just about love and about knowing God.
Yeah.
He wants you to think that, it's got to be about, performance and doing everything perfectly and being a good person. And unfortunately, some Christians still think that, and they've propagated that narrative. And so I think the key is just showing people what the gospel is really all about. It's a huge misunderstanding. No. Okay, works are good. It's how we love on others and we help people through things. But, we don't want to go around sinning because it just hurts people. Yeah. But it's really about Christ's love, and that's what the Bible is about. It's about knowing God.
Yeah. I think a big thing, too, is people get caught up in wanting fame, and I'm sure you've seen that plenty with the music industry. It's like they think fame is going to bring me this great feeling, when I don't think it does.
And love.
And love, right, yeah, and love, too, like if I get famous and people love me, then I'll deserve love,
Oh, sure.
And so, like I said, it probably puts you on this performance thing. Oh, I need to perform in order for me to get love.
Yeah, I'll be somebody.
Yeah, whatever that means. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
You said fear creates what it fears. Can you give me a moment in your life where that came true?
Yes. That isn't always true, but it can be true quite often. And so I think that's why we need to kind of watch out for it, especially men who are maybe dealing with some confidence issues, things like that.
Okay. Here's
a perfect example. Let's say that you don't have a lot of confidence to keep a girl in your life.
Okay.
And that sometimes gets turned into insecurities. Mm-hmm. And if you're insecure around the opposite sex, she's counting on you to be the leader. She's counting on you to be secure. That's one things that women admire the most is confidence and security, and being insecure, being secure in oneself.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right. And so if you are insecure, you start to do things like you get jealous and you don't show up right and things like that. That's a good recipe to lose a woman.
Sure, because it's not about her, it's about you.
Yes. And that is a perfect example of how fear, I'm fearing that I'll lose her, can create what it fears, because you're showing up in a way that is insecure and you're worried about losing her. There you go.
Yeah.
It can happen.
Yeah, and things like that become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes.
Where it's, say, you're in a room and you're like, oh, everyone's looking at me, and no one's looking at you. But then you start like fidgeting and doing weird stuff. Now everyone's looking at you.
Right.
So you fulfilled your prophecy.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Exactly.
It's the same thing with insecurity.
Yep.
Jinx. One of your quotes is, be your confident self. Someone out there needs that version of you. When did you first experience that?
Okay, so when you're afraid to show up, you miss out, and the people around you miss out. There was an example, like when I was driving home from Colorado, and I was with my girlfriend at the time, and we pulled off just because we were low on gas and we were both hungry, and I thought, oh, let's just pull off right here.
Yeah.
Well, we happened to be the first responders on an accident.
Oh.
And I didn't know that we were going to be.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of trying to evaluate the situation, and I knew I needed to do something. Now, had I just thrown up my hands and said, I don't know anything about this.
Wendy's at the next exit,
Yeah, right.
We're hungry.
Okay, we're going to skip right past this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I knew they needed me. They needed help. And so I'll try not to get too graphic, but
yeah.
they had been T-boned by a large truck, and there was a teenage girl on the opposite side, and she had a laceration from one temple to another. So literally,
God.
she was scalped.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was still there, but she was bleeding from
Anything on your face bleeds like crazy.
Right.
So I'm sure there's blood everywhere.
Right. And so, but I knew that I could do something, and I had to spring to action, and I got there, and I started putting pressure on her forehead and finding things that I could do to stop the bleeding. And a nurse showed up.
Oh, perfect.
And so she helped a lot. I'm like, okay, I'm going to run back to my van, get my shoes on, because I was driving barefoot.
Oh, okay. You must have been driving for quite a while.
Yeah.
That's a pro move.
Yeah, right, exactly. Did I mention that I was accident prone? I'm just kidding.
Right. Yeah.
No, but so I instantly ran back after I got my shoes on and started, working on her, and we were triaging a little bit. But I had the confidence to know that I could do something, and I knew a little bit about that kind of thing. And my girlfriend at the time, she said, Alan, she says, what happened to you? She says, you just became a different person.
Interesting.
And I'm like, wow, that's really, really, really interesting. But I knew I had to show up.
Yeah.
And be there for that person. But it ended up that, the paper did a story on that. York, Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
And they called me up later and asked how things were going, and wanted my little take on the story. And
that's so cool.
The girl fully recovered.
Okay.
So
good.
It was good.
Can you imagine how it was your girlfriend at the time?
Yeah.
How she would have reacted if you were just like, I'm scared. I don't know what to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great example of you taking a leadership role and just taking action. That person needed help.
Yep.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to show up and be your version of your best self. You can look at all kinds of influencers online, and then they can say this and you'll be confident, say that and you'll be confident. But no, you really just have to know yourself and show up as the best confident version of yourself.
Yeah. Well, I think confidence comes from, I think you have a good mindset. You coming into something like, I can do this. But then true confidence comes from that result coming back to you. You can say, I'm amazing and everyone likes me.
Act as if.
But then no one likes you. And it's like, okay, well, eventually you need to get some real world, response back. And then that builds even further.
Right. And confidence comes through repetition as well.
Right.
When you do things over and over again and you're all right, I'm getting good at this,
Yeah. Oh, totally. You said everyone's from different planets. What does that mean, and how do we live with that in mind?
Yeah. So a lot of times I think in life, we go through life thinking everybody reacts like we do. Everybody thinks like we do.
Yeah. Everyone thinks like I do.
Right. And so it's actually kind of a form of acceptance and being non-judgmental. Because if you're with someone and you are kind of emotionally expressive, like I happen to be, and let's say you're talking to a friend about something and you say, wasn't that great? And you're all excited, and they're processing, and they don't have the same emotion as you. And you start to judge them because you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? What's wrong with this person? How come they're not excited?
Yeah.
But really what's going on is that they're more, oh my gosh, my friend could tell you about this. Myers-Briggs, they're based on introverted expression, where they don't express things the way I would.
Gotcha.
And so it took me a while to not judge based on my own experience and have acceptance for everybody out there, because everybody's operating on different frequencies. They all have different attachment styles, core wounds, everything that makes up that person. And I can't judge that. I need to accept that they're from a different planet
Sure.
than I am.
Yeah.
And I have to just let them be.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of a form of acceptance.
Oh, for sure. And like you said, looking at people from a place of non-judgment, it's at a certain point, you look at someone and it's like, based on what they've experienced, where they grew up, what happened to them, if they were bit by a dog as a child, wouldn't that make sense? They're not going to be super comfortable around dogs. You can't be like, I can't believe it.
Right.
It's like, well, can't you though?
Yeah.
doesn't seem like too far-fetched, and like that can apply to anything. I had a bad relationship, so my next one's going to be bad. Like, well, you're trying to protect yourself from getting hurt. understandable. But sometimes we have those beliefs, and they're there to protect us from having pain.
Yeah.
But it can also hold us back.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a form of just reserving judgment, just to give people a chance to show you who they are.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. You said relationships are like gardens. What's the water?
Ooh, love.
Love.
Pretty easy. And time.
And time.
It depends on, of course, what their love languages are.
Yeah.
You know,
I've been planting my gardens wrong.
I think we all have. We all have been planting gardens wrong.
There's some weeds in some relationships, but
Yeah, right.
I think it's a good metaphor, pulling the weeds, right?
Right. Yeah. Honey, there's a weed we gotta get rid of. let's take a.
You ran for state representative.
Yeah.
What made you step into politics?
Wow. So I'd love to do that again if that were ever the case. If I was ever called to do that again. I just care about people, and I love the legislative process. I think people need to stand up and actually do something about some of the things that we're going through. I didn't ultimately win, but I came super, super close. Did it twice. And I gained a lot of experience. If and when that ever happens again where I should or would, I'd love to do it. But it's exciting to see how that process works out and the things that you can be involved in. I think it's good when people care about that kind of thing. So that's why I jumped in.
Yeah, I bet that's. To me, it seems like a racket. A lot to navigate.
Yes.
I mean, politics, especially nowadays, everyone has their views, and I don't like talking about politics a lot, but it seems like it's very involved. So,
yeah.
more kudos to you for trying to figure out. I don't.
I've learned how
I could do it.
I've learned how to stop talking about it because, when you see somebody's eyes glaze over, and
they're like.
They're done with it. You're like
they start to disassociate.
Yeah, right. Okay, we'll pick that up again some other time.
Yeah, let's go back to the garden.
Yeah, right.
What's one risk you're glad you took, even if it didn't turn out like you planned?
One risk. Moving to Nashville.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And where did you move from?
Des Moines, Iowa.
Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah.
Okay, and why are you glad you moved here?
It has everything to do with so many things. The life, the people, the weather, the magic, everything. Oh, perfect example. Okay, so there's a band named Berlin.
Okay.
Terry Nunn sang that song, "Take My Breath Away."
Oh, yeah.
That one.
Oh, wow. I thought Berlin was singing it just now.
Oh.
That was so good.
Thanks. But, so... VH1 was doing this special where, they were getting the bands back together.
Yeah.
And it was filmed a while ago. And I thought, this is great. I got to see them. I got to check to see if they're touring.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they were coming through Nashville in a couple of months. And I thought, this is great. And, I love to meet famous people. And I was going to make a keyboard for her and be like, here's your keyboard. It's pink.
I love you.
I love you.
Will you marry me?
Exactly.
We'll make a beautiful garden.
I love that. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
But
I think it's called a callback in a joke.
Oh, okay.
In comedy.
Okay, good.
I'm trying to learn comedy.
I like it. Yeah, you're just as good as Conan O'Brien.
I don't know about that.
He's one of my favorites.
He's like 3 foot taller than me, I believe.
I love Conan.
Yeah, me too. He's hilarious.
So back to Berlin.
Yeah.
So it was a small venue at Top Golf. It was hilarious because they just called it the McCowan because it's on McCowan Street.
Oh, pretty original.
Yeah, very small venue, 200, 300, 400 people at most.
Okay, that's cool.
And so I'm watching to see if any musicians are walking by. I noticed that the people that are playing in her band are kind of checking things out. And things start, and she's a great performer. And it comes to the part where she was going to do some slower songs, and not because of that reason, but I was getting a little more brave, and I thought, I'm going to go up front and raise my hand just like everybody else. And there was a joke. They're very famous for a song. Well, in their crowd, they're very famous for the song called "Sex," and it was very provocative. And they thought that they needed to do that kind of thing to get on the radar way back when.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So people were chanting it.
Okay, gotcha.
And she goes, "Oh, we always sing that song," and she was joking around. And then right then the keyboard went, "Da-na-na-na-na," and then so it's like, oh, there's the hit, the big one.
Wow, that's cool.
And everybody freaked out. I'm like, oh, she's singing that song, and she's got a great voice.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm raising my hand, and she's touching people's hands and all that.
Yeah.
So at the very last moment, she grabs a hold of my hand, only my hand, and she holds it and continues to hold it for the last note of the song and the last 30 seconds of the song.
Wow, that's cool.
She's got one hand up here and one down here holding my hand.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, I can't believe I'm not letting go.
That's awesome.
And then when she was done with that note, she took a bow, and then that's when she let go of my hand.
Yeah.
But it's that magic that happens in Nashville.
Yeah, that's so cool.
You open yourself up to a lot of things here that you wouldn't have experienced otherwise.
Yeah.
That's just one thing, one tiny thing.
Did you look at your hand differently after that?
Yeah.
Or I think I remember from cartoons growing up that people someone famous touched their hand, they wouldn't wash their hand, for a long time. And
I had a little bag in the shower.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Like I did with my broken arms. I actually touched two famous people.
Yeah. She gave me a hug.
Oh, that's so cool. When your life's over, what will make you feel like you made an impact?
Yeah, for some reason, I'm just wired that way. I'm not built for finding my own pleasure or serving myself for the rest of my life. That seems dead to me. What I want to do is I want to be one of those guys that made an impact where I did something huge for humanity, something big for mankind, or just my country or the people that I love, the people that surround me. Without going into too much detail, because I need to understand how to package this. But what I'd like to do, if I do make any kind of money from musical instruments and things like that, kind of how Elon's dream was to make life multiplanetary, and he sold PayPal to get the fundage to create SpaceX. I'd love to do that, but I won't sell my business. But I'm hoping that the profit that comes from that I can use to make housing for people. And the goal is to, and there's an amazing way to make houses called rammed earth. You should look it up sometime. It's absolutely beautiful.
What is that?
So it's where you combine indigenous soil, sand, and Portland cement.
Okay.
And you compact it under pressure. And it doesn't take any curing or anything. Well, it doesn't take heat or anything in a factory. You can literally do it with just compression. Okay. And it's making rock right before your very eyes. Those three things together. Wow. And I was super into what's that called? Storage container housing, because I thought, that's the way we can create cheap housing. But it's like, oh man, it's just so small. And but with rammed earth, you can basically create any size and shape you want. Wow. It's gorgeous. It doesn't look cheap at all. Yeah. And like, man, I can create this cheaply for people. Yeah. Especially if we move to the country, we buy a big piece of land and we start building houses for dirt cheap, pardon the expression, because it's actually part dirt. I could probably create houses for people for maybe $10,000 or $15,000 a piece. That's materials only. Wow. But the idea is to have this mass exodus from people moving from the suburbs into the country and having small towns grow again. But it's there where people develop the freedoms that we need to have so desperately. Freedom from a high mortgage, freedom from a high pay.
Mortgage is pretty high right now.
Right, and rent. And it's like, if you can give people back that life that we used to have, suddenly everybody has more freedom. Yeah. Oh. And I would love to do that, where I help people regain that American dream by having financial freedom and living in a house that they can manage. And growing having a family in a small town is a lot different than having a family in an inner city. Things like that.
Oh, totally.
And I love the inner city. I'd love to fix things over there. Yeah. But in the meantime, if we can kind of restart civilization in smaller towns and make things better for people, that's one of the things I want to do. So I hope that people catch on to this idea when I start building houses for people. And there's going to be people who I'm going to give the houses to for free. We're going to pay it forward. But these are huge goals and huge dreams. But you asked what I would be happy about, knowing that I had an impact. If I have an impact on creating low-income housing for people and helping people gain financial freedom, it's not over. I think is the biggest word and the biggest message that I like to convey is that it's not over. Things can still happen. You have never been in one place your entire life and you're not stuck there now. Things can always get better. And you just have to make that first step. And I think you will experience that transformation of getting out of where you are now into where you should be.
You lived a one-of-a-kind life. What's one truth you know for sure?
One truth. Well, of course, there's the whole spiritual truth, and that is God loves me. Thank Jesus.
Amen.
I would be so toast without him.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere around you if you just look. For example, the idea of love. You can just use that for anybody who is trying to figure out life and understand what it's all about. Is you just look at love and go from there, and then you see that God is love and God has amazing things in store for every one of us. And there's also fate. These are the things that I know are true. These big, huge things.
Yeah.
These large concepts, and they also happen to be something that you can basically prove to others that God is in existence because they can only come from God. You know, fate, that has to come from an architect and somebody pulling the strings and doing things. You know? And so those things I know are true. Yeah. God, love, fate, all of those things that point people to God. And it's exciting when you're free to kind of look at life as it is, and you can say, wow, you know, that's all God.
Yeah. What's one experience you've had in life that gave you 100% certainty that God is real?
Boy, a lot of people could say, oh, he saved me from this accident or saved my life here or there. I think it's those serendipitous moments that only, and I'll have to try to think of one particular thing, but it's those serendipitous things that can only happen because somebody else is in control. Those crazy serendipitous things that like, how in the world?
Yeah, like coincidences.
Coincidences.
You're thinking of someone and then they call you, you're like, what? I mean, like, what are the chances of something, you know, certain things? It's like, you know, it's something just like, I had this, like earlier this year, it's like, I was thinking about someone and like haven't talked to them in like 2 years. And then they called me. Yeah. Like almost immediately after. It's like, what's the chance of that happening? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Stuff like that all the time.
It's like, there's something to it.
Yeah. I lead a very charmed life because of that. And I think there are lots of people who do that too. You know?
It's interesting, the type of realizations we have as we get older.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's the importance of wisdom. And I think that's why, just like I mentioned my goddad before and how much wisdom that I was able to absorb from him. Yeah. I think it's important for us who have been around the block a couple times. Yeah. To impart wisdom to anybody who's willing to listen. Yeah. And because we can save them from a lot of hurt.
Definitely.
And I think God did that on purpose. Yeah. He wants us to learn from those who are wise.
Yeah. I agree. It's so important to learn from others' mistakes because we only have so much time. We can't make all the mistakes. Yes. And so if you can avoid the big ones, oftentimes what you don't do accelerates what you're doing.
I hope I don't butcher this, but one of my favorite artists is Amy Mann.
Okay.
She was the lead singer of Till Tuesday.
Okay, I don't know who that is. I'm not the best on music artists and
that's
actors
okay. I won't
and
sing
things.
it. Maybe we can call it up or something like that. But I won't sing it.
Oh, come on. Yeah. You sang Berlin.
I've got the microphone.
Yeah, you're a singer. This is your moment.
That's her. Her range is really high on that one. Okay. But anyway, so fair. She has the song and she's talking about a mistake that she made. And this part I might sing. She goes, I was saving it up. Now it's spent and I don't know what I've spent it on. I thought that was just hilarious. She has got the greatest verbiage.
Yeah.
She's a poet.
Yeah.
She's so great.
Yeah.
But we all, the beginning of that is we all make mistakes. But it appears that I've made the biggest one. I was saving it up, but now I don't know what I've spent it on.
Wow. Very interesting. Yeah.
Very deep lyrics.
Oftentimes it's that real big mistake that we can make in life that it's like there's two different types of doors. Some doors you can go in and come back out.
Yeah.
Some doors, once you go in, you can't come back out.
Right. And let's save a little hope for those who have maybe made a big mistake and think that, it's too big, they can't come back from it. That's not true at all. The Bible says if a man makes a mistake, if he falls, does he not get up?
Yeah.
Does he not get up again? And I think we can learn from those mistakes. We can start anew. We can start over. God is the God of fresh beginnings, new beginnings. So if you have made a huge mistake, give the pieces to God. He will pick it up for you, and He will help you move on. There's another verse that I really love, real quick, and that is, I am the Lord your God who upholds your right hand, and I insert my name here. I say, who says to you, Alan, do not fear, for I will help you. And I think if anybody's made a mistake out there, recite that and insert your name. Say God's words back to yourself, for I am the Lord your God who upholds your right hand, who says to you, Jake, do not worry, I will help you.
Well, that's great because, mistakes. We're getting ready to wrap up here. We're getting close. Is there anything you want to say, like to close with?
Wow. How do you wrap all that up?
I mean, just any last words you want to say before the podcast's over? Yeah.
I guess just some words of encouragement for anybody out there who needs it. I just want to reiterate that it's not over, and things can blossom from here, and you'll be amazed at what can happen if you just open yourself up to the possibilities.
Awesome, man. Alan, really appreciate it. Glad to have you on just the first podcast. And thanks again.
So, man, good to talk with you.
We'll do it again sometime. So,
absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching the Jake Turner podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and to follow me on all my other social media platforms. The links are in the description below.